Hi, I'm Stan Asher, and this is Art's Notebook, and I have a real treat today. One of Montreal's biggest names in the entertainment business, Sheldon Kagan, has agreed to talk to us for a while. So as soon as I got my telephone and everything going, we're going to get him to talk. Let's see. Hi, have I got you on the phone?
Yes, you do. Hi.
Okay. Oh, you're a little loud. Wow. Okay. Well,
really?
Yeah. Well, welcome. I'm looking very much forward to talk to you. And I'm starting by looking at a photograph of you that was taken in the cover of Cashbox magazine.
Yeah.
Have you changed really much in the second half of that photograph?
I'm sorry?
I wonder how much you've changed in the second half of the
my goodness. Yeah, that's, well, I started, in 1965, and I just celebrated my 50th anniversary in entertainment. Mm-hmm. So it's been a long time, but it's been a really, really fun experience.
And it all started, says this article, with Dave Boxer as a kind of, I'm not sure if a mentor, but got you interested in it. I didn't even know if it's still around.
I used to listen to his radio show, and he had all these different contests, and I was fascinated, and I had an actual notepad where I'd keep all these notes, and he would sort of say, what's the latest song by the Beatles? And I would remember his number used to be, 279-4568, and on my rotary phone, I would just dial 8, and he said, oh my gosh, Sheldon Kagan again.
Oh, wow.
And, that's really how it started, listening to him on the radio and other announcers. I said, what I really want to do is I want to be a DJ, but I want to be a mobile DJ. I want to go out and entertain people. And it wasn't heard of. I came up with the name of Shelley the K.
That's right.
And started doing parties. And I've done thousands upon thousands of parties over the years.
The rest, they say, is history. But at the beginning, it wasn't that easy, apparently, because you were a lot younger than some of the people you were dealing with thought you would be.
Oh, my goodness, yeah, of course. I was 15, just going on 16 when I started doing gigs. And when I was 18, I started looking for artists to produce at Place des Arts. And I started dealing with one specific agent who handled Duke Ellington and Dizzy Gillespie and George Benson, a whole bunch of people. And after about 4 contracts dealing with this man, he said, look, Sheldon, I'd really like to meet you in person. He said, why don't you come see me in New York? And I just felt, maybe he would just think I was a little too young, so let me hold off as long as I can. And after a few months, he said, look, I will not take no for an answer. I'm going to arrange it. So I had a first-class tickets to New York, and I got picked up in a limo and taken to the Waldorf. And that evening, I was taken to a restaurant to meet him. And as I walked in, I'm sure what he really wanted to say is like, hey, son, how come your father couldn't make it? Because he had no idea of the age that I was at that time.
Yeah.
And but we hit it off and became friends and dealt for about 15 years.
Fast forward to a recent issue of the Montreal Gazette with a lovely article about you by Rick Blue from Bowser and Blue.
Yeah.
And in the article, you claim that you originally figured you could hang out for 25 years, but it's been double that, right?
That's right. When I hit my 25th anniversary, I said, oh my gosh, I'm certainly not going to stop doing what I'm doing. And if anything, I expanded into more areas and more divisions of entertainment. But I really, really said, if I can hit 50 years, that's it. I'll be 65 and let me go on with my life. And last year I hit that milestone, and I announced it on live television on Global.
Yes.
And people were very, very surprised. I have dealt with so many people in the entertainment industry, in the wedding industry, and corporate events. But I wanted to spend more time with my family. So much has happened in this past year. Number one is I did retire.
Right.
I closed all my businesses. I sold my home and moved from a very large home to a beautiful condo. But it was a lot to do at once, and I had accumulated thousands upon thousands of records over the years. And what was I going to do with these records? Was I going to store them? For what? So I did a lot of research, contacted a lot of organizations, and realized that Vanier would be the best place to donate it to. So I donated my whole record collection, my music paintings, my music statues, everything music related to Vanier, and they're in the process of building a Linda and Sheldon Kagan music library, which is going to open up in 2016.
Now they, I think, have a very active music department.
That's right, and I went back and met them and because I was really concerned, like, what if I donate this to something, and and what if they get stolen, and what if it gets damaged, and they really took it seriously. We had an event a few months ago where we invited the students, and I invited my family, and the whole Vanier was decorated with all my old posters and statues and things, and it was probably the most memorable day of my life, being there. It was incredible.
But of course, you see, compared to me, you're still young, because next Saturday I'll be 82.
Oh my goodness! Wow, fantastic!
And I'm going strong.
Well, no, that's it. I hit 66 a few weeks ago, and I feel young. It's just that I've done so much, since 15. So it's a little different in terms of, I want to really. I mean, I've always enjoyed myself, but it was my own business, but it was still a lot of work. I'd go away on 3 vacations, and I'd come back, and then the Monday morning I was always at my desk. Now I go away, and do I want to extend my trip, or maybe maybe I want to go away this weekend? So I'm doing a lot more traveling, and what I decided to do is get involved with organizations where I can help a lot of people, and I want to volunteer, but I want to use my expertise. So I started off with Cummings Center, which is a phenomenal organization.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I went back and forth. I received a call about 2 months ago from a fellow called John Carney, who goes way, way back with me. And he said, "Look, Sheldon, why don't you do some volunteer work?" And I said, "John, I'm going to, but I must have gotten 20, 25 calls and emails from people from the day I retired, wanting me to get involved with them."
I'm sure.
So I said, "Give me a bit of time." But 3 days later, John was on the phone again. He says, "What do you think? Why don't you come see me?" And he was persistent, but in a nice way. And I believed I should give it a chance. So I went to the Cummings, and I did a site inspection and visited the whole property. And it's amazing what they have, for seniors, 50-plus crowd. And I said, "Give me a couple more days." And I went back and met the different department heads for marketing and special events and the president, and really, felt this would be one of the organizations to get involved with. And I've got 2 events coming up as we talk right now. On June 1st, I'm producing an event which I'm calling Let the Good Times Roll. And I went out and I contacted so many of the artists that have worked for me over the years and said, "Hey, guys, would you like to participate?" And the response was overwhelming. I mean, I had to really pick and choose to limit the amount of performers, the amount of time. But for this June 1st event, which is at the Rialto, I've got tenor Perry Canestrari, who's just like an Andre Bocelli. Nancy Bartonez, who's just an incredible sort of R&B, singer. Edwin Orion, he's a pianist. Pierre Propal is probably one of the best performers in Montreal. I quote him, he's like a James Brown kind of performer. He does Motown, James Brown, but he also does Frank Sinatra, like Frank Sinatra. And then I've got Franco Tadeo, who's a super comedian, and Balietti Toussaint is going to be on too. So in a course of 2.5 hours, all these performers are going to be playing. And that's going to be a really, really an amazing event.
And the price is pretty reasonable, $30.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I mean, like,
members,
we're talking about $35 or $40 for tickets to go to a 2.5-hour concert in a beautiful theater. And then right after that, on June 15th, I've also offered to coordinate the entertainment at the Cummings Center for all their volunteers. They put on an annual volunteer recognition party, and there's going to be about 800 volunteers coming to the Gilbert Center, and I'm going to take everyone way back. The whole theme is going to be Woodstock. I'm going to play music from that era, but also do a lot of participation, get people dancing. I mean, it's going to be a super party. So it's funny because my wife was saying, "You are retired, aren't you?"
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Yes, honey, but it feels really good. I'm also in touch with 2 other organizations that I haven't finalized arrangements with that I'm going to do things this summer. So at least, I feel good giving back to the community, but in a way that I'm going to go directly to the people and entertain the people.
Wow, pretty good. Let me take you back to one of the things you're best known for, and that has been for a good number of years now, Le Salon de la Mariée.
Yeah.
How many years have you been involved in
Well, that's it. In 1980, my DJ business is going well, but I said, how can I get more weddings? Hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to organize my own wedding show.
Right.
So I became the first tenant as such at the Palais des Congrès, and I came up with the idea of a trade show with everything for your wedding, honeymoon, and future home. So it's 35 years. It was the longest running bridal show in Canada, actually, and we used to get thousands and thousands of people to come, and it was such an important event because they can find everything just under one roof, and it makes sort of shopping so much easier for bride and grooms.
Will it continue after you've retired?
No. I closed the show.
Oh, yeah.
I had some offers from people that wanted to buy all or part of my businesses. A few of them could have been interesting, but they wanted me to sort of stay on part-time. There's no way. I mean, and that's one of the reasons that I, went on with Jamie Orchard, like on live TV, because I just wanted to bring it out, and then say, look, this is it. No matter what, everything is over. So the only work that I'm doing right now is these work for, nonprofit and charities. But the calls that are coming in from people wanting us to, do corporate events, or I've had a couple of interesting offers from States in the past few months that wanted me to produce shows at Place des Arts. I'm turning that all down.
Oh, boy. Oh, well, you know what you're doing. I wanted to also ask you, among the many, many people in the jazz and pop and other fields that you've had contact with, one of them you've remained pretty close to over the years was Duke Ellington. Tell me a little bit about
he was by far the most amazing person, I've ever met. When he first came in to do a show for me at Place des Arts, I remember just timidly knocking on the dressing room door and saying, excuse me, Mr. Ellington, is everything okay? And he said, Sheldon, get in here. It's not, my name is Duke, And he said, by the way, I'm working on a new song. Have a seat. What do you think?
Oh, wow.
It's like he's asking me what I think of a new tune that he's doing. He was really, really nice. We did 3 concerts in Montreal, and I also participated in a jazz festival at sea that he was, one of the attractions. And I mean, when you look back at the number of records that Duke Ellington put out, I mean, it's like, the Beatles. It's unbelievable.
Right. Tremendous. Moving to another part of your career, and there's so much about you in the web, it's made my work easy. Things I have to get a little bit more discussion about. You were the DJ at your own wedding reception. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, I met my wife at a Christmas party for the Royal Bank. She had come up to me, as many people do, and said, excuse me, would you happen to have the song My Way? Well, the truth is that I had My Way in English and French and instrumental and probably 5 other languages. And I said, oh my God, I feel so silly. I don't have it. I said, but hey, give me your phone number and I'll play it from the phone for you tomorrow.
Clever.
and she did. And I called her the next day, and we joked around about that, and I took her out on a date. And where did I take her? I took her to another Christmas party that I was doing that night. But this time, she came as my assistant and ended up helping me carry the equipment and whatnot. So, and eventually, of course, we decided to get married, and I said, well, if you don't mind, I just want to sort of jump in. So I sort of ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask Linda and Sheldon to come to the dance floor for their first official song as husband and wife. And then I ran out, and then of course I played. Our song was My Way, and the words may not be the best song for an opening song. And now the end is near.
Oh my goodness, right.
But it wasn't the case. It's been 33 years, and Linda is really, really, really ecstatic to be, retiring, because she's helped me for all these years, and it's work, and most of it went well, but there was some huge disappointments. There's things happening like in any industry, and she stuck by me and did everything she can and make it, better.
Let me ask you also, apparently your daughter and son have been involved in some of your shows.
They have. Since they can walk, they've been models in the fashion show. It feels like I'm still paying for them all the years later, but that's another story. But my son was very involved with all the different divisions. He was my assistant, at the shows, and he's worked with many parties. And in retirement, at both the events, for the Cummings Center, he'll be helping me. He's going to be at the Rialto Theater, greeting all the artists and setting up all the coordination that has to be done for the shows. And at the volunteer party, he's sort of an assistant with me. So, he's great going out and getting people to dance and throwing out hula hoops and balloons. And, he loves to make people
sounds like fun.
Happy.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you a little bit more about two other shows that you did over the years that are almost as well known as the Salon de la Mariée, the Salon des Boomers.
Yeah, well, again, everything is timing, and when I saw all the publicity coming out years ago about the baby boomer generation, I already had done the bridal show for many years, and I said, hey, look, why don't I try and do something similar, for the boomers? And the first year that I did the boomer show, it was, I think we had 20,000 people. It was just humongous. I had music, from the era of the boomers, and I had all the different kind of industries that the boomers could be interested in, from travel, from insurance, from lifestyles, and it really was a fantastic event. I noticed that as the years went on, the number of people attending the Boomer Show was going down, and I just sort of realized that the public maybe didn't like being associated, like, I'm a boomer. Is it more negative than positive? I could have kept it going, but after 5 years, I said, look, let's leave it well enough alone, and it definitely was fun. And they were interesting, but it
so
it wasn't like the wedding market, that's sort of huge.
I taught for a good many years, and one of my students back at Herzliya High School many years ago is kind of associated with boomers internationally, Moses Namer.
Yeah, oh my gosh, he has taken off. His businesses are incredible.
That's right.
Zoomers is a huge event that he's doing in different Canadian cities. His magazine is out there, and I used to live upstairs from Schneider's Steakhouse on DeCarry.
Oh, wow.
When I first started my business, and his mother Edna was the waitress, and she sort of ran Schneider's, and she used to come up regularly with all these incredible bones for my dog, and she was sort of in love with my dog. And Moses was very young then, and he was sort of just getting into things, and a couple times he came by to say hi, and he really had it, and he's doing unbelievable right now.
Yeah, there's 2 pages about him in today's Globe and Mail, by the way.
Really, eh?
Yeah, his life story, everything. Last thing I wanted to mention before we sort of summarize with your show you're doing coming up is the Salon de la Famille is one that you're associated with, have been for many years as well.
No, what I did is I sort of did that more online, than the actual trade show portion.
Oh, okay.
And did a lot of events for the family market, but it was all back to timing. I just didn't want to have too much on my plate. So, the main thing is, I've produced over 75 shows, mostly at Place des Arts, and that was sort of huge for me. And you mentioned Duke Ellington, another story that's incredible. I used to pick up all the performers at the airport myself because I thought it was a nice way to meet them and get some relationship with them. And I went and picked up Artie Shaw, who had come out of retirement to work for me, and he was in his late 70s at that time. And when I met him at the gate, he walked out with a suitcase and a lady that has to be probably 25. It was kind of funny because he had like 7 wives. He was married to Lana Turner and Ava Gardner and some of the biggest movie stars in the world.
Rita Hayworth.
And I said to him, you just flew in from Los Angeles. You must be tired. You must be hungry. Can I take you out for supper? Thinking, does he want to go to Gibby's? You want to go to Moisha's? Wherever. Let's go. And he said, well, Sheldon, do you like chicken? Yeah, but it's not about what I like. He said, well, do you play cards? I said, a bit. He said, why don't we go back to your house and we'll order some chicken and play cards?
Oh, cool.
And that's what we did. And I asked him for permission. He said, of course, if I can invite some of my neighbors over. And I invited probably a dozen of my neighbors over. And the thing is, if they didn't know the industry I was in, they would have thought, oh, yeah, sure, we're going to go play cards with Artie Shaw. But they came flocking over, and my dining room was full for hours and hours. And we went right into the wee hours of the morning playing cards and, chatting with Artie Shaw. So, I mean, these are stories that are just unbelievable, and they're such an experience that I'm so happy and proud to have been able to have.
Too bad I wasn't one of your neighbors. I might have met him too.
You could have had a real good time.
So again, June 1st.
Plastics was good. As I said, it's not easy always. When I did, you mentioned Duke Ellington. Tickets were $350 to $650 then.
Things have changed.
Times have changed a little bit. And my mom used to joke with me because she didn't always like to come to my shows at Place des Arts because she didn't like to see the red seats. What do you think she meant by that?
I'm not sure. We're not talking political, are we?
No. Red seats was if she saw a red seat, it means there was no body in it, and her son was probably not making money.
Oh, right.
and we just, even every couple of months, she's now living in Toronto. She's 93. She's spectacular, but I still joke with her about, the red seats at Place des Arts. It was really funny the way it still came up for many, many years.
In the last couple of minutes we have, I wanted to again mention your show coming on June 1st, which is just down this week.
That's it. It's at the Rialto. It's really an amazing event. For tickets, it all goes through the Cummings Center. So if you call 342-1234 and say that you're interested in coming to Sheldon Kagan's Let the Good Times Roll, they can put tickets aside and send it to you, by mail, using credit card. But I think this is going to be one of the most amazing shows to come in, to see ballet, comedy, dance, over one evening and in a theater, in a comfortable theater with huge lighting and sound is really something.
Haven't done that since the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah, well, that was sort of like the idea that I wanted. I mean, I could have gone with one or two performers, but, that's okay. But let's, how can you go and see like seven? And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, to start the show, I have an 18-piece big band playing called the Ensemble Big Swing Band. So there's like a 30-minute big band set followed by all the other performers.
And this is for the Cummings Center.
Really fun. And as I said, there will be lots of other things that I'm going to be doing. So I'm sure that Montrealers will get to.
Well, we'll keep in touch, and I'll follow you closely. I wanted to end with just a taste of one of your concerts that I particularly enjoyed knowing about. Although I'm sorry I never was actually there. On the 24th of September 2011, you had the International Tenors. Were these the famous three tenors we're talking about?
No, these are a Canadian group.
Oh, okay.
Based out of Toronto. The other group is called the Tenors. However, these guys were that same caliber. What I tried to do is as much as possible support Canadian talent. So even when I brought Dionne Warwick a few years ago, she wanted her son to be the opening act. And I said, look, I really, really, really want to have my own opening act. And she agreed, and I had Oliver Jones and Renee Lee.
Yeah, I see that.
Which is, a concert in itself, of course.
And Oliver Jones is retiring.
For me, it was really important to promote, Canadian talent as much as possible. And that's why even with these benefit shows that I'm going to do for these nonprofit and charity organizations, it's all going to be very much Canadian and especially very much Montreal.
Well, I wanted to thank you for what a breathtaking set of things we had a chance to, we crammed into about 20-some minutes. Not to mention ABBA and the Commodores and the comedy nights that you did. And who else have I got? Dizzy Gillespie, Woody Herman. I think almost every big band has gone through your hands.
Yeah, well, that's why I said I started with the big band. My Uncle Irving, way back when they lived on St. Urban, had talked to me about some of these performers. And another thing that was really interesting, so when I started to look for the performers, there was no internet. So I couldn't just sort of punch in Madonna and find Madonna. So it was a lot of work to reach the agents in New York and L.A. to research who these performers are. Nowadays, with all the electronics and technology, everything is a lot easier. But I learned quick, and I had a great time with these performers. It really, really was phenomenal.
I can't even guess what it would be like if there had been internet when you started your career. Wow.
Yeah, I said, who knows what I would have done. But no, I mean, the career was great. I started in, 1965 and, took it up to 2015. And right now from 2016 onward, I will definitely be involved in the entertainment industry, but in a different way, trying to support community groups. And what I'm really interested in doing is reaching people that might not normally have the budget to go out to go to Place des Arts, to go to Bell Center, and so I think this is really good. It's a real feel good for me, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
And what do you do in your spare time, if you have any?
I play tennis and bike.
Oh, wow.
yeah, which is my plan today. The weather's going to get out.
Well, I think you have a decent day out today, and I'll let you go. And it's almost lunchtime, so you want to do a little bit of that too.
For sure.
Yes. Thanks so much.
It's been great talking to you.
Great. And again, we'll mention one more time. Let the Good Times Roll will be on the 1st of June, next Wednesday at 7 p.m. the Rialto Theatre. That's the big space, 5723 Park, right?
That's it. We're hoping to have about 700 people. It's a great-sized theater, to give intimacy, but also, have great sound and lights and make everyone feel that they're almost part of the stage.
Yeah. How good a space is that for performances and such? Sound and acoustic?
It's very good. It's like a Place des Arts type of a setting. It's excellent.
Yeah, considering it used to be a movie theater.
That's it. No, they did really good. They put in great lights, great sound. They, redid all the seats in the balcony. It's perfect.
Yeah, I grew up in the neighborhood, and I remember when it was just a regular theater. In fact, I can remember in 1939, the King and Queen of England at the time went right by the Rialto Theatre when I was a child.
Interesting, eh?
Well, thanks again, and we're going to close with a bit of music that will be reminiscent of your tenors concert. I have the well-known three tenors, and we'll play something of theirs, which will take you back to September 24th, 2011 at Place des Arts. Thanks again, Sheldon.
All the best. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. And I will do exactly what I said. We're going to try and get the three tenors piece on now.